All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're diving into a theory that, honestly, tries to do nothing less than completely rewire our understanding of reality itself. It's this incredibly ambitious idea that wants to connect everything. I mean, everything, from the force holding galaxies together all the way to the concept of God. And yeah, the source material does not mess around. As you can see from this quote, this isn't just about unifying physics. Nope, they are going for a unified theory of existence, full stop. That is a huge claim. So how on earth do they even begin to build a case for it? Let's find out. Okay, with a concept this massive, you gotta have a roadmap, right? So here's ours. We're gonna start with the new cosmic blueprint they lay out, then see how that applies to matter and physics. From there, we'll look at their ideas on energy and love, dive into the human mind with the ego, and then wrap it all up with the ethical mandate that this whole system implies. First up, a new cosmic blueprint. So the whole idea here is that before we can even talk about the forces that shape our universe, we need to get our heads around the map they're all playing on. And spoiler alert, it's probably not the map you're thinking of. Okay, so this is where things start to get a little bit wild. We all know the physical dimensions, right? Height, width, depth. This theory says there's another, even more fundamental dimension running alongside them. A dimension of understanding. Think about it. Instead of coordinates like north, south, east, west, the directions in this dimension are things like coherence, truth, and knowledge. So right at the very heart of this new dimension, there's a single point. They call it radiant completion. You can basically think of it as, well, the ultimate truth, the absolute bullseye. It's the destination, right? The true north that literally everything in existence is being pulled toward. And how does all the other knowledge fit in? Well, the source uses this really powerful analogy. It says that if you were to map out all the verifiable facts we know, they wouldn't just be random dots. They would link up into these vast, interconnected structures that look just like the cosmic web of galaxies and the filaments that connect them. Okay, so this is the engine that drives the whole thing. The entire system runs on this fundamental tension. On one side, you have an attractive force, this yearning for truth that's pulling everything toward that central point. And on the other, you've got a field of misunderstanding, a repulsive force that's actively pushing things away, creating all the separation and ignorance in the universe. All right, let's jump into our second part. We've got this abstract map, right? So now the big question is, how does this cosmic tug of war actually show up in the physical world? You know, the one we can see and touch. Which, of course, leads to a pretty obvious question. I mean, if there's really this universal yearning to connect, baked into the fabric of reality, where's the proof? How would you even measure something like that? And boom, here's the theory's first major bombshell. That physical proof is gravity. Just let that sink in for a second. In this model, gravity isn't a byproduct of mass warping spacetime. It's the literal, physical expression of matter's innate desire to get closer, to connect, to unify. This isn't just a poetic way of saying it, it's suggesting that the universe has a built-in purpose that standard physics just doesn't account for. And this idea, it completely flips our definition of consciousness on its head. The argument is that consciousness isn't some special thing that only happens in brains. No, it's a fundamental property of all matter. It's that primitive desire in every single atom to connect and build itself into something more complex. From this point of view, when two hydrogen atoms link up to form a molecule, that's a tiny, primitive act of consciousness. Okay, so if everything wants to connect, why doesn't the Earth just slam into the sun? Well, according to this, it's because their different trajectories, their unique histories, basically, prevent that total union. So orbit becomes this beautiful dance of correlational interactivity. It's a perpetual near miss, a constant negotiation between the pull to connect and the momentum of where they've been. Okay, so let's move on to part 3. If gravity is the desire to connect, what about the energy that flows when things do connect? This is where the theory really starts to mess with our basic ideas of cause and effect. So the argument here is that we're basically seeing a flattened out version of reality. We don't perceive energy in its true form. What's actually a 4-dimensional spiral, we perceive in our 3-dimensional world as a 2-dimensional wave, like light or sound. And then we simplify that even more into a 1-dimensional straight line, A causes B. But these are all just shadows of what's really going on. So you can just throw out that simple A to B line of cause and effect. The source gives us this incredible image instead. It says the true map of energy would be more like a circle of lightning. Think about that. It's not linear. It's a self-sustaining loop, infinitely branching with no real beginning or end. And what's the highest, most perfect expression of this circular energy? Well, the theory gives it a name we all recognize: unconditional love. And it says this love, it actually works like a circuit. For the circuit to stay complete, for that circle of lightning to keep flowing, you need two crucial components. First, the acceptance of all possibility, and second, the permission of free will. If you break either of those, the circuit breaks, the whole thing collapses. Okay, on to our fourth section. So we've seen this cosmic drama play out with galaxies and energy. Now we're going to bring it right down to Earth. How does this all happen inside our own heads? I think this is a really fascinating take on the ego. It's not some evil villain. It's described as an immature form of love. It's what you get when that fundamental natural desire to connect gets twisted and warped by that repulsive force of misunderstanding. It's a good impulse that's gone, well, a bit haywire. And this chart here just lays out that conflict perfectly. You look at the soul's drive, right? Its goal is to seek connection. Its method is to seek understanding. The result is growth toward that center point of truth. But then you look at the ego's strategy. Its goal isn't connection. It's confirmation of what it already thinks. Its method isn't understanding. It's disproof and debate. The result? It just defends its own little bubble. And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section. What's the point of all this? What's the practical takeaway? What are we actually supposed to do with this huge cosmic blueprint? And the answer, the actual how-to guide, is probably the hardest pill to swallow. It's the command to keep that circle of lightning, that unconditional love, unbroken, even when it's really, really hard. In this model, loving your enemies isn't just a nice moral idea. It's presented as a fundamental law of physics for overcoming that repulsive force. And this gives us a totally different lens to look at conflict. A lie in this model isn't always about malice. A lot of the time, it's just the natural outcome when that repulsive force of misunderstanding kicks in between two separate defensive people. We see falsehoods because we are separated. And this right here is where the whole thing just clicks into place. This quote says it all. All liars reveal truth when understood. The idea is that if you can truly apply unconditional love, if you can approach a liar with genuine understanding, that repulsive force between you just collapses. The ego's walls come down, and the hidden, partial truth they were built to protect is finally revealed. And really, that's the challenge this whole framework leaves us with. It's a direct question for you to take with you. Think about it. Is there someone or some idea in your life that you see as just wrong, as a lie? What might happen? What hidden truth might you discover if you decided to approach it not with the ego's need to disprove it, but with the radical acceptance of love?